Hello and welcome again to the Franco Observer. I am your host, Jason Rudy, and welcome to the third episode of the Franco Observer. Episode 1, we reviewed Count Dracula. In episode 2, we did Voodoo Passion, and now in this third one, we tackle an interesting film by Jess Franco. As we talk about later, or as I talk about later with Eric, it was a film that was originally credited to Erwin C. Dietrich, his producer of this film, and 15 others. A total of 16 he did with him in the 70s, it was 75 to 78 or something like that. 77. But, anyway, this film is white skin and black thighs. And it was one of 3 quickie kind of sex films that he did. This one, Girls in the Night Traffic, and Around the World in 80 Beds. Those 3 they did really fast. This film was... I'll give you all the credits and all that stuff like I usually do in the beginning. Alternate titles. It's... the German title, of course, and then the translation is White Skin and Black Thighs. It was shot in Zurich between March 8th through the 13th of 76, and it was released on July 29th of 1976 in West Germany. So basically, this came out as a hardcore film, and the hardcore running time was 73 minutes, which is weird because... that's the softcore version. Okay, the hardcore version ran 79 minutes and 30 seconds. This softcore version that we watched was 74 minutes, so it's basically about 4.5 minutes shorter. I believe it was a scene with Kali Hansa and Pilar Cole. I think it was that scene was with them, because when we watched it, the music in that scene jumped, and so you could tell it was that. Anyway, so this is one of the 16 films he did for Dietrich. I didn't really like it. It's okay. You'll hear more about that in the review portion of the film. But it was interesting because they shot this film with the other 3 pretty much back to back, and this and Girls in the Night Traffic, upon research from Flowers of Perversion, they share a lot of the same sets, the same actors and locations between this and Girls in the Night Traffic. So that's one thing that they have together on everything. There are no credits in the film itself. Stills are different than what you see on the cover, which is my pet peeve. Is there's a picture of Jess Franco on the cover, with Diata Fatu, and she's naked and he's kissing her, and Franco's not even in the film, even though on the DVD cover he's on there, and they have another actress on the cover as well. Escher Mosher, I think, is who that is, and she's in the front when she's not in that. So basically, filmed pretty much simultaneously with Girls in the Night Traffic. Props and actors are shared between the 2 productions. This is the second of 3 hardcore quickies shot entirely on indoor sets upstairs at the restaurant Gastonhof Neuhaus in Zurich. For years, the film was impossible to see, having never been released on video anywhere in the world. That was the situation with the review of the film. We go over everything about that. So basically there is the version that I got was part of the Jess Franco Golden Goy collection through Ascot Elite, the German import DVDs. This ran about $38-40, somewhere around that. I can't really recommend it unless you're a completist and you want to own every Jess Franco film. There are much better Jess Franco films. Like I talked about before, watching it, you could see Franco probably shot it because he's not in it, but the style, the episodic nature, and a lot of the scenes that looked like they were maybe shot for something else and just strung together in here. Looked like more Dietrich style. So, like The Young Seducers and Rolls Royce Baby. It reminded me of Rolls Royce Baby with portions like that. So, but I still like Rolls Royce Baby a lot more than this film. So yeah, I don't know. That's what we're watching. I'm thinking about maybe to kind of knock out all the Dietrich films. Maybe do all 16 of those. Because we've done Voodoo Passion and now this one. And that might be where we're going to go before we go into the more mainstream stuff like 99 Women, Girl from Rio, the Fu Manchu films, Vampiros Lesbos, She Killed in Ecstasy, etc., etc. So, yeah, but that should be it on that. I just purchased my 85th Jess Franco film, Vampire Blues, one of his later ones, and I'll be getting that on about the time this episode drops. So, yeah, plenty of episodes ahead. Thank you for listening. Getting good counts, seeing there's people listening basically from California where we live and all the way to New York and Madrid, Spain, and in Germany as well, which was really awesome to have 2 people listening around the world. So thank you for listening, and please tell your friends. Please share this with people. The more people that listen makes me push harder and do better. So I appreciate the support of those that like this and keep listening. So this is Jason Rudy signing off for this portion. And please listen to the review part. It's good with me and Eric, and we talk about the film White Skin and Black Thighs. Hello and welcome to the 3rd episode of the Franco Observer. I am your host, Jason Rudy, and I am here again with my co-host, Mr. Eric Whitwell, who has a very rambunctious stomach this evening, something he ate or drank. It's been making loud noises all day. So first, get the technical stuff out of the way. Started the first episode with a condenser mic. Second episode, switched to a dynamic mic. For this 3rd episode, I bought a little mixer board and some cables to hook everything through, but it didn't work right, so I got to get another cable for the mic or some adapters, and then so we're back to the dynamic mic for the 3rd episode, like we used in the 2nd episode. So I'm going to get that out of the way. So you're going to hear some of the passing of mics back and forth. But ideally, from probably episode 4 on, I want to have Eric with a mic, I with a mic, so there's no passing back and forth. And all right, so without much ado, today's episode is one of the interesting films that Jess Franco, I guess, directed. There's been a lot of controversy whether he directed it or not. It's kind of scattered, this whole film and everything, so I'm going to take this step by step. This film is called White Skin on Black Thighs, or White Skin and Black Thighs.
Yeah, it said that 2 different places, so it had 2 different... One place had white skin on black thighs, and the other place had it listed as white skin and black thighs. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it started off as on, and then it changed to and. But, yeah, I think it's white skin. But there's also, like, white hands on black thighs, too. I've seen it listed as. I don't know. Anyway, very odd movie. This was one of the 16 films that Jess Franco did for Erwin C. Dietrich, the German producer, that is probably of all of his... I mean, he has a lot of nudity in all of his films, but in these set of films, that he really focused on a lot of nudity and hardcore nudity. And a lot of these films have 2 versions. Like this one we watched tonight was the softcore version, and I think it's like 4 minutes shorter with the hardcore inserts. We could tell that definitely during Kali Hansa's scene with the guy's wife, and then a scene with the psychiatrist guy. I think there's some footage that was cut from that, but maybe like 2 scenes. So anyway, yeah, this was White Skin and Black Thighs. It was filmed March 8th through the 13th of 1976, and it came out like just a couple months later. I'll go through all that in the opening before all this. This was a really interesting film. To be up front, right off the front, I didn't really like it. I mean, it was funny and it was interesting and there's some cool stuff to it, but it was just so frickin' repetitious. The black walls, after a while, was just bugging the fuck out of me. Basically, what this movie is it's basically starts off in like a strip club type place, and the lady's doing a dance, the lead actress, and this guy is like really obsessed with her, and they leave together, and after they have sex, she like jumps out the window and like tries to kill herself. The guy's taken away, held in jail, while his wife investigates what happened to her husband and tries to get behind it, which is the storyline used in Sinner earlier by Jess Franco, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't watched it yet, but I've read about it and know about it and all that. And that's a much better film, but he used the same basic storyline of a guy set up in the beginning, and then as the film progresses, you see if he's guilty or not guilty or what led to the situation. With this film, there's the opening nude dance scene, which there's always dance sequences in most of his films. I don't know. I always try to stay with the formula, so I was going to ask Eric, what did you think of the movie?
Yeah, it was kind of like watching a porn without the porn activity. Like it was, there were scenes that just didn't make sense, that didn't really fit in, but they were actually kind of humorous to watch. The Green Man scene in particular was hilarious. There was probably about, I would like to say maybe about 10 minutes of actual story plot and about an hour and 4 minutes of gyrating nudity, and, there were some really cool shots in there. The fact that it seemed like it was filmed in the same room, made it kind of like theater, like you're watching a play. But yeah, it had some scenes that I won't forget that really kind of had me laughing, had us laughing.
So yeah, we'll go into the little green man as the story progresses. But yeah, just like Eric said, basically like the first 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, it's still a lot of dance sequences and stuff, but it had a basic story structure in the beginning, and then the whole middle, this second, third, and fourth act, whatever, just all that was just nothing. It was almost like he had filmed some scenes from another movie or something and decided to I don't know. It was very disjointed. So anyway, not jumping ahead. So anyway, the guy has sex with the woman, and she jumps out the window. The wife comes in to investigate. She meets the woman who jumped out the window is the lead actress. Her character's name is Marja, and so she investigates Marja, meets Marja's girlfriend, Lena, who is played by Kali Hansa, and Kali Hansa's in a lot of these films. It was cool to see her act in this. She's like a mix between Mary Warnov, a little Karen Black, a little Annette Haven. She's very, very cool looking. So basically the wife comes in and talks to her, and then she shows her vagina, and then the Lena tells her just to go to sleep at her house. And then this is like the weirdest part of the movie is like the wife falls asleep on the sheepskin fucking throw that is in every shot of the movie is this white sheepskin throw. It's on the bed, it's on the floor, it's in the club, it's part of everything. It's in the dream sequences. It's just everywhere. So yeah, that's one thing too. Before I go into the scene, the dream sequence, he used a lot of the same furniture and sets. It's like the walls are painted black or with a black fabric as to simulate a wall. And then that was the club, that was the dream sequence. It was Lena's house, it was like every room was that same thing, but they just changed the room around, put in different beds, put in different things, reused a lot of the same props, the bird cages, the lights hanging from the ceiling, and other things. Sometimes it works, most of the time it didn't, but it was an interesting attempt. We were talking too, looking at like how it was made, and it was like the actor's budget, and then like that's probably it in film, because it's just so threadbare with the locations, and there's one or two exterior stock shots of like a beach town or something, but you never see the actors walk in and out of doorways. You don't see them in the street. There's no outside shots at all. Everything's all indoors. The jail cell, the dance club, the apartments, the psychiatrist room, the basement. Anyway, so she goes over to the lady's house, shows her vagina, goes to sleep. And then the wife has this dream sequence where she takes the lady's house where she's staying at, sleeping on her bed. She borrows her stuffed animal and starts rubbing herself with the stuffed animal as she's having a dream sequence of fucking her husband in prison, which was shot really well. Actually, that black room looked really well. They shot it through a grate, and it was very minimal, but it worked for that shot. And it was filmed really well, I thought, and that was like a hot scene and such. But then halfway through, it's like she started dreaming about another thing. You don't know if it was a nightmare or what, where she was chained up to a cross of some kind, and there was about 5 or 6 guys in the room, and they're just laying around as the steam was coming by, or the fog was coming by them, and Lena's character walked through and was like whipping them and shit. And then talked to her on the cross, and then all the guys ravaged Lena, and then they ravaged her. It's just weird. It was like, and then it cut back to her and her husband again, and I don't know, it was just fucking weird. Yeah, and then it went from like the man's wife fantasy dream sequence. But I will say my favorite shot in the film was the shot after her climax. It was lit and filmed really well. The shadow was across her as the scene came through, and it was in like a slow motion, and it actually looked, to me, that was my favorite shot of the film. So then she wakes up, Lena comes back in and has the diary of Marga that she, to rewind, when the wife comes over to talk to her, she says, hey, I want to talk to you as Marga's girlfriend to see what happened to her, see what's up with my husband. So then she reads from Marga's diary to see if she has any clues of what happened that night with her husband. Anyway, so then as she reads her diary, which is other scenes filmed, we learn of Marga, how her mother was a prostitute and was killed, and then she was taken in by this other woman, and then she meets this psychiatrist, and then you learn about her and the psychiatrist and the patients the psychiatrist was treating, and about how he got every two different women patients nude and then was fucking them as they were under. But the best part was when the first one was hypnotized by him, she went into a basement for some reason and was talking about a witch who told her she was going to have sex with a little green man, like a Martians, and Eric remarked that it was like Twin Peaks or something. And then she goes down this basement, and then you hear this little voice of it's like a German, but it's like I don't know if it was Jess Franco or who it was. And so it's like a cucumber or a zucchini. I think it was a cucumber. And she basically has sex with this cucumber for no reason and sticks her boobs through the thing. But I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Eric, because I think that was his favorite scene in the whole film.
Oh, gosh. Oh, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. She goes down there because, there's this little green man that she's going to give herself to. That's going to be her first experience. She's supposed to keep herself pure until she meets this green man. I don't know what that had to do with anything of the movie. No idea. But I was thankful for the scene anyways. She's hypnotized. She goes down in this basement, like Jason was saying, and you just hear that weird voice. And he's like, I'm over here, bring me to you, or something like that. And all of a sudden she reaches through the bars that she first has pressed her breast between, so they're actually pinched on either side.
Wood too. The splitter.
Yeah, wood, like splintered wood too. It wasn't even like nice smooth wood. It looked splintered wood, and really weird, man. She's like going up and down. It makes no sense. I mean, yeah. Then all of a sudden she reaches through the grate and pulls out this long cucumber. And it's talking to her. And it's like, she puts her hand down below, I think, and she goes, I want to go there too. And so like, she pulls, and she just starts like grinding this cucumber that's talking to her at the same time. And in the meantime, the psychiatrist is, first of all, his women patients come in and he says, go ahead and take off your clothes. And then they get fully nude and then lay on the couch and he starts to talk to them.
And then he hypnotizes them.
Yeah, then he hypnotizes them. And he tells this one, stay asleep. And he has sex with her.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and then when he was done, he goes downstairs and finds her gyrating with this cucumber and then says it's time for his pink fellow. I guess now it's time for my pink fellow or something like that to be with you.
The green man, time for the pink fellow.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was hilarious, though. Like, I was not mad about that scene. It really cracked me up. Yeah, just the green man talking, man. That was hilarious. But yeah, I have no idea why that was there.
Yeah, so why was the psychiatrist in the film? What was your reasoning for the psychiatrist? Because I know I'll go into what I was obsessed with, but you talk about the psychiatrist. Like, what was his motive for being in the film?
To have a male figure have sex with women? I mean, like, I honestly, like, I mean, it all ties in with the last remaining 5 minutes of story plot, but I'm not sure why. Okay, maybe it was like to show like his domination over women, you know, as a psychiatrist, because then all of a sudden he kind of becomes Marga's slave. He says, I'm your slave.
Right.
So maybe it's showing the transformation of him being this powerful figure to like now he's like this slave figure.
But like what we were talking about is like you see the scene of him hypnotizing the two women and what he says and stuff. And this is written in her diary. But how would she know what he said to him and what he's doing to him if it's from his point of view and she's not in the room and he's never told her these stories? It's just she just knows this about him. So that part was weird. Like we were saying, we think it was almost like 2 or 3 movies that they was edited together or whatever. So it's like, for a long time, this was like known to be an Erwin C. Dietrich film under a pseudonym of Michael Thomas that was found on a poster. This film played in like 76, 77 and then was never really shown again. So when this Blu-ray came out through the German company, they put out all the Erwin C. Dietrich 15 of his films. Franco claimed that he directed this, and Dietrich went ahead and put his name on, or Franco's name as the director after he died, and then when this came out. So I don't know, there's some Franco shots like the zoom to the female genitalia and some of the sequences I can see, but there's a lot of other Erwin C. Dietrich stuff, especially the psychology to it in the end of how it wraps up with the wife and the husband. And basically the husband gets out of jail. They figure out that, you know, the woman jumped out the window and everything was cool, and then she gives a testimony that the guy didn't push her out the window, and so the police let him out. And then he tells his wife, hey, I'm sorry, I was a pig, I cheated on you. And the wife says, well, no, you know, it's not your fault, it's my fault, because I wasn't a good enough lover for you as a wife, and I didn't do my wifely duties. And that was really odd to see in 2020. We just kind of like, wow, okay, I got to do it and fly today. So, yeah, it was kind of an odd wrap-up. And that's more like Erwin C. Dietrich, I think, watching The Young Seducers 1 and 2 and Rolls-Royce Baby of his. I can kind of see the sequences, how they fit together, and just, I don't know. I think he might have directed this with Franco, even though Franco said that Dietrich didn't want to direct it and he directed it, but Dietrich did direct other things. So, I don't know. I think this is a co-production, just like Around the World in 80 Beds, Mondo Erotico is going to be, and that's kind of the same with this. So, I'm not looking forward. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but my hopes aren't going to be high for this. So, yeah, this film I kind of like. is one of the lesser known films. Like I had said, it was really never available on DVD or VHS or Blu-ray or anything. To the people watching at home, this will be on YouTube, but I'm going to be showing the camera this cover that I'm talking about right now. This is part of the Jess Franco Golden Goya collection, which is 16 Blu-rays put out through Ascot Elite Home Entertainment. I got this through Davidi Company through their Amazon storefront through Amazon, and you kind of have to go through a couple links and you'll find it. This is the second one I've got. I've ordered 5 so far. I got Downtown coming, Mondo Erotica, and one more. Girls in Night Traffic. So those 3 are coming, and then I got Wicked Women, and then this one, White Skin and Black Thighs. So Eric was hung up on the psychologist character in the film. I'm hung up by this fucking cover of this DVD. And it even talks about it in the Stephen Thrower books, how Jess Franco. So basically on the cover of this DVD, you have Jess Franco kissing the lead actress. And she's like completely nude, and he's like kissing her on the lips, and she's kind of smiling. He has his hand on her thighs, the white skin on black thighs. So you kind of see that. So that's like totally not in the movie at all or nothing. Jess Franco's not even in the movie. And there was that, oh yeah, he only acted in it, but he's not even in, and he's not in the hardcore scenes or the softcore scenes. So that still, I think, was just, I don't know, taken for the poster so they can get that white hand on black skin, or I don't know. And then to the left of it is another woman who's not even in the movie, who's completely nude. She's amazing. I thought she was going to be in the film. She's not on it. And then below them is, now that I see it, I watched it, that's the lead actress, Marja, dancing. And you actually see the white sheepskin on the front cover as well, which is nice. So they even get the sheepskin on the front fucking cover, get the full use out of it. But, it's a nice cover. It's Jess Franco Golden Goya collection, Weissen, Hotoff, Schwarzen, Schneicklin. Exactly. But yeah, so this is the nice. I do recommend these collections. I can't really recommend this film unless you're a completist like me and you got to have every Franco film. Like, say you have them all. But yeah, the print's really good. Oh, there was a cool extra too that was with the actor who played the psychologist in this, and he's actually a really interesting German guy that's all about sex and making adult films and such. What did you think about the little 10-minute documentary?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty. It was interesting because you're seeing him now, like nowadays, and he's looking back and he's talking about it's like the sex of the future, and like people are going to be having sex for 10 hours a day, and the man must perform, and he must always have if a woman gets within 100 feet or something like that, like a man becomes rock hard. He always becomes rock hard, yeah. And it's he had this idea that he was really kind of pushing that. Like, I'll let you explain that. It
was the orgasm meditation will. Yeah. OMW, and it's the orgasm meditation will, and he had a whole philosophy and psychology about sexuality with men and women, and about how men are portrayed in modern sexuality compared to the past, and about how there's a tension and you must always the resistance, and then once you break the tension, the eroticism explodes from the breaking of the tension between the two. And that part was really interesting, and I do agree with that, but some of his other stuff was pretty strong. But yeah, so I don't know, I guess closing thoughts. There's some really good looking women in this film. Kali Hansa is great. The lady that plays Marge is great. A lot of flaccid European genitalia. A lot of black walls. A lot of sheepskin. Some cool fog. The dance sequence with Kali Hansa and Marja and shit was really cool. I thought that was actually filmed really well. The orange light, red light, green light, the fog and the dry ice and all that. that was pretty cool. There's some good stuff with that. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. I really can't recommend this film unless you're a completist. It's interesting. I mean, it's not a piece of shit or nothing. Cully Hansa, I liked her a lot in this, so I'll give it a positive, not because of her. But yeah, Jess Franco does not act in it. He directs only part of it. I don't know. What's your thought about it, Eric? If you would say it to people,
it's if you want to have a movie that you don't really have to pay close attention to, it has fun moments in it. And I mean, there were a couple of scenes I thought were really cool. I love the way they were shot. There was a dance sequence that was the club of people all dancing, and I like the gyrating lights and the spotlight on that, the way that the motion of it and the way that was shot. I thought that was really cool. And yeah, the dance sequences with the fog and the dried ice. Yeah, that was beautiful. Like the way that was shot.
A lot of nice tight vagina shots.
Well, I didn't delve in that deep. I couldn't tell how tight they were. But yeah, it's but yeah, it was there's definitely, it has its moments. It has its good moments of artistry and good filmmaking in certain scenes, but yeah, it's not really a movie you watch like you don't host a party for this movie. You know what I mean? It's a movie if you want to have some laughs with some friends, and and I think Jess Franco, actually, I think he did act. I think he was the green guy. I think he was the voice between. I think so too. Yeah, I think he might have been the voice behind the green man that was actually Cucumber. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's something. It was fun. It was fun, but I definitely, it's not a movie that I'm gonna spend a long time in trying to fully understand every aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I will fucking go into this fucking cover again. The back says uncut version, which is bullshit because this is the softcore version, not the hardcore version. So it is cut. Jess Franco's not on the cover. The other lady on the cover is not in it as well. Yeah, so I don't know. But if you get past all that, it was a good looking print. The copy's really well. It's a good collection. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Eric said. I mean, there's some, it's something that you could put on in the background with the music off, with the volume off and have music playing or something, and it's perfectly fine. It's, something you don't have to pay attention to. But, yeah, I wouldn't tell you to go out and spend $30-$40 on it like I did. So, yeah. Well, it's I pay for the entertainment of doing this podcast for everybody. So, you live and learn. So, yeah, exactly. It's another brick on the wall. Yeah. So, and a few more films coming up. I'll have 85 films now. Like, yeah, I got Vampire Blues coming in next week too. So that's the 85th film. But so yeah, so we got 85 so far, and I think I can get to about 90 before I start like having trouble because I found. There's a guy on eBay from Greece that I found, Juliet and the Whip, and I found there's like 4 or 5 of his films I've written down. But yeah, so I found like 4 or 5 ones that were kind of hard to get. Of course, they're bootleg. They're probably DVD minus our burns or whatever, $20-something shipped from Greece. So, Paula Paula is another one. But yeah, so some of I think they just basically. They're boots, but as a collector, you always try to find. Part of the fun is finding the film instead of actually watching the film. And even in society of today, because I'm 47 years old, and like in the 90s and shit, it was cool because like living up in California in Sacramento, I would like drive down to Berkeley and rent videos from a store, come back up and record them onto my VCR and then go back down and take them back a couple days later. Or I'd go to LA and like hang out with a friend and like dub down there and buy shit and come back up and all that stuff. And then when the internet came in and everything became really available, and the hunt for finding, places going out of business and mom and pop stores and that, you would find these rare things, and that became less of a chase, so nowadays, that's why I think part of me likes to do this too, is to find these places. Oh, I found a guy in Greece that's selling these 4 bootlegs that I need, or it's little things like that I think are still cool, and that's as time goes by, it seems like that's a harder and harder thing to do. So that's part of being a collector, I think, too. And that's part of the joy of all of us listening to shows like this, and that is because we all share that common interest or certain stories. Or for generations that are younger, you kind of learn through these things that we all went through. So, but so I don't know. That was some little thoughts there about the Franco stuff. We're also in November now, so we're going to have some sales coming up. Word is there might be a Franco release through Severin. They're announcing new stuff come up every day, so we got fingers crossed for that. Hearing it might be Sinner, but I'm not sure. We'll see. But so once again, thank you all for listening to the Franco Observer Podcast. Please tell your friends, other Franco people you know that are Francophiles. I saw on the analytics that we had listeners from Spain and from Germany listening in this last time, so I want to say thank you very much, and hope you enjoyed the show, and please listen more. We got many more episodes to come, and we will be seeing you soon.
All right, beautiful nights.
All right, beautiful nights.